morning. It's 3:36 in the morning. But I was reading some more. Oh, water something. I have my book here. How Satan Turned America Against God. And I ran across this stuff on the Illuminati. And this is the next chapter reading in my book. And instead of going all the way back to the first page, I'm just going to read some pages, not all of them. And one of them leads into feminism and stuff like that. And so, well, first of all, I was reading about Adam Weishaupt. I think that's the name, Adam Weishaupt. He is the founder of the Illuminati, 1776, May 1st, months before the Declaration of Independence. A couple of months. And what had happened was he was influenced, or he might have been part of the Jesuits. And we're going to find out that the Jesuits, like I said, heavily influenced him. And then he met other people, and the one guy known as Colmer. It was just probably initiated into Eastern mysteries by Ismaili holy men during the incident children in Egypt. Colmer was a Judent merchant known, Jutland merchant. I don't know what that means, or could have been in Bavaria, but Adam Weishaupt was Bavarian, of course. But anyway, it says that, just starting here, it says, it talks about it further. It says that Weishaupt's own descent into the world of the occult was brought about by a mysterious Jutland merchant known as Colmer. Some believe that Colmer was himself initiated in the Eastern mysteries by the Ismaili holy men during an extended sojourn in Egypt. Others contend that he was a Kabbalist Jew. In any event, the rejuvenated Colmer was soon back in Europe looking for prospects when he met and converted the disgruntled Bavarian professor. Webster writes, this is the Webster he's talking about. She has a book on Amazon, matter of fact, and it's called, if I can get to it, World Revolution, the Plot Against Civilization, and talks about the secret societies, and she exposes them. Her name is Webster, if you want to take a look at that. World Revolution, the Plot Against Civilization. Okay, so. Okay, now I got some things here. In any event, the originator Colmer was soon back in Europe looking for prospects when he met and converted the disgruntled Bavarian professor. Webster writes, Weishaupt, who combined a practical German brain with cunning. Hello, Mary Ray. How are you? Marie Ray. How are you? How are you this 3:40 a.m.? With the cunning Machiavelli, whatever that means, spent no less than 5 years thinking out a plan by which all these ideas to be reduced to a system. As the Bible declares, there is no new thing under the sun, Ecclesiastes 1:9. Weishaupt's new system was in reality nothing more than old Satanism. Yeah, me either. I can't sleep either. I probably can't want to get to bed, but right now, I was just like, you really had to make this. Anyway, but what a powerful revival of evil it became. Webster writes in her book, Secret Societies. This is another book you might want to take a look at, Secret Societies, that Weishaupt was not the originator of the system he named Illuminism will be already apparent to every reader on the present work. Okay. It will be evident that men aiming at the overthrow of the existing social order and of the all except religion had existed from the earliest times. In order to get his Illuminati jump started as quickly as possible, Weishaupt entered the Masonic Lodge Theodore at Munich in 1777. Oh, you need a Bible? What kind of Bible are you looking for? I know. Hopefully it's King James. You don't have a Bible? No. This cannot be so. That's not satisfactory. No, we can't have that. Oh, you don't have a Bible at all? None? Really? We can't have that. Let's see here. Where you live at? I mean, you can just put the state down there. Just what state? Yeah, Florida. And you go to church? You go to a Baptist church or something? Nobody there's helping you get a Bible? Man, this is this. Oh, but they have Bibles there in the church you can use, right? But you just can't take them home. Oh, I mean, well, I was asking, do they have Bibles in the church that you can use in the church you attend? I don't know if it's still there. What? This is sad. Well, I got just the answer for that. I got a big box of Bibles that I need to send somewhere, and that will be the place I'll send them to. That's crazy. How can a Baptist church not have Bibles? It's a Baptist church. That's crazy. Hmm. What is the name of your church? Yeah, so what's the name of your church, Marie? Oh, it's not Baptist? Oh, I thought it was Baptist. Church of God. Does the pastor have a Bible? And the congregation doesn't have Bibles, or they don't have Bibles to offer them there at the church. The Church of God here in Tennessee, they have Bibles, and they have all King James. Oh, I think both of them do. There's two Church of Gods here, Church of Christ and Church of God. Some of them, I know some of the Church of Gods are really Pentecostal. That's I can't believe that. That's hard to swallow. If you know what I mean. Yeah. So what's the address there? Do you have the address for that church? take a little break on this for a minute. Very illuminating. That's it, isn't it? Do you have the address for your church you attend to, Marie? What's up, Joe? I'm about to get into this. Okay, well, let me ask you this. What you know what street it's on? And what city in Florida it is? I could probably narrow it down. I don't know what it is, Joe, but water is so good. Panama City, Florida. I have a friend of mine from work. He recently visited Panama. Went to the beach there. So Panama City, City Church of God. I'm sure there's like 3 or 4 of them, right? I put Hod, not God. Is it the first Church of God, or is it just a... Pastor? Oh, is that Panama City Beach? Or just Panama City? Assembly of God. Wow. Okay. Oh, did you say Foster? It's Foster, the road name? This cannot be. Well, Foster was a street name. Okay, so First Assembly of God. Let's see where that ends up. Okay, that's Northeast Avenue, so that's not it. St. Andrew Assembly of God. Me, no. I'm thinking of sending the sister here some Bibles. Her Bible and her congregation some Bibles. I got the Bible to do it, so I'm glad I kept them for a reason. But yeah, where's it at? Come here. So the name of the street is Foster Street. What do you know the number of the street? Street number? Trying to narrow all this down here. Because what we got is Emerald Coast Assembly of God, St. Andrew Assembly of God, Parker Assembly of God, Refuge Assembly of God, Hill Park Assembly of God, Callaway Assembly of God. Okay, 2415th Street, Panama City. 3240, 32401, I guess, and 0.2. Okay. Let's see here. We can't have this. You can't have that. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Dang. Well, get 2 more maps here. Let me tell my computer this. 2400 15th Street, Panama City, Florida. I did speak. There we go. Alrighty. Alrighty. Oh, that's the little church. It looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like a hexagon type of thing. Walk to it. Okay. Foster Avenue. Gotcha. Okay. Trying to get on the thing here so I can see here. It's not showing a name. Trying to get it on here where I can, do like a little dude. You can put a little man there, and then you can see the church. Oh wow, 4 people, cool. Yeah, that's we got to do something about that. You can't not have any Bibles. As to why you don't have Bibles, it really befuddles me. I mean, what's the doctrine there? Are they like y'all speak in tongues or something, or what have you? 2 men in that truck. Let's see here. Bolorama Lanes. They do speak in tongues? Okay. I'm not going to say whether that's bad or good, but, speaking in tongues is for edification of the church. But anyway. Right, Brother Joe? But anyway, this thing will not let me zoom in on this. So let's try this here. Train satellite. You are more baptized. A good thing baptism doesn't save you. Skype or something. I didn't ask for Skype. I'm just Christian. I don't get in that. I mean, I go to a Baptist church, of course. I'm a member of a Baptist church. But you're more Baptist. But anyway, I'm sorry. I've been, yeah, that bothers me. 2400 15th Street, Panama City. This has 32401. 32401 as the zip code. Is that right? I'll catch up with this reading here in just a minute. But yeah, that bothered me. It's just messing with my head. Every church should have just up the street from my house. So you live on 14th Street, I guess, huh? I'm not going to say your address. I didn't know your address. So I bet it's flat out there, isn't it? Oh, yeah. You live right there in the Panhandle, not far from Pensacola, I bet. 17th Street. No. This can't work. This can't work. You think the pastor reminded me of sending some Bibles there? Oh, well, you have to get over it, won't you? So, Vicksburg. I'm trying to find Pensacola. I know where it is, but I just can't find it on here. Mobile, Alabama. Let me see here. I'm gonna try this real quick, then I'll go ahead and. Well, you don't have to ask. I'm gonna send him anyway. Too bad for him if you don't like it. Too good for him. Good for him if he does. I just don't think that's right, Murray. That all churches should have Bibles, and all the people in the churches should have Bibles of the church. If people don't have Bibles, the church should freely offer them Bibles. You know what I mean? And that's just the way it should be. That's just the way it ought to be. Amps. Nope. Street Panama. 2400. Give me 1 second here. I'm on another page. $2,400. Stop acting up. 2,400. 15th. Oh, fudgesicles. Man. Why did I even go to that to begin with? Okay, so let's get off that. Well, Murray, how old are you? Are you a teen? Well, let me ask you this. Are you a teenager or are you in your 20s? I know it's kind of rude for a person to ask a lady's age, but you said my mom, so I didn't know if you were a minor or what. Oh, 44. I'm 2 years older than you. My sister's 44. Yeah. What was the name of the church again? Or you didn't have it? Here, 2,400. Street. Okay, that's what I name it. It's St. Andrew Assembly of God Church in Panama. St. Andrew. Okay. Yeah, you're a young fella. Okay, well, I got the address, and I'm going to send some Bibles. How many people in your church, you know? $10, $20, $30, $40. Yep, St. Andrew. And click on that for a minute. Others ministry in the world. Hope you feel the warmth and friendliness of our church. Meet the staff, pastors, contacts. Pre-register here. Okay, so the pastor there is Pastor Britt, music associate and music pastor. Is that it? Oh, Pastor Clint, associate and student pastor. Pastor Joyce, senior adult pastor. Pastor Brianna, children's pastor. Wow. Okay. Maybe 40. Okay. Let's see here. I don't know. Some new pastors. Remember that. That's not the feminist. And that's why I'm doing this video. It's not a feminist remark or anything. But hey, I got the information. Then I'm gonna send out some Bibles. And I'm gonna send it to that address. I think everybody should have Bibles in the church. And anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and read in this thing. So it says, in order to get his Illuminati jump started as quickly as possible, Weishaupt entered a Masonic lodge, Theodore in Munich, in 1777. It was here that he found a band of renegade Masons who wanted more than the status quo. The French Mason Marabout divulged in his members. Lodge Theodore de Bon considered at Munich, where there were a few men with brains and hearts, was tired of being tossed about by the vain promise and quarrels of Masonry. The heads resolved to graft into their branch another secret association, to which they gave the name of the Order of the Illuminized. They modeled it on the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits, that is, whilst proposing themselves to views diametrically opposed. When we come to the review of the doctrines, philosophies, and operational procedures of Weishaupt's secret order, we are indebted to the thorough investigation of the Bavarian Police Department following the execution of Father Lang. The local authorities raided the house of Herr von Schwack of Cato on October 11, 1786, confiscating numerous incriminating documents and then some. Here we found descriptions of a strong box for safeguarding papers, which, if forced open, should blow up by means of an infernal machine, of a composition which should blind or kill if squirted in the face, of a method of counterfeiting seals, recipes for particularly deadly kinds of aqua tofana, for poisonous perfumes that would fill a bedroom with pestilential vapors, and for a tea to procure abortion. A defense of atheism and materialism entitled Better Than Horace was also discovered. So these people are crazy, man. After getting his own sister-in-law pregnant, the pervert Weishaupt makes a veiled reference to this abortion tea when he states in a letter to Marius, "We had tried every method in our power to destroy the child, and I hope that she is determined on everything, even blank word." Professor Robson asked rhetorically, "Can this mean death? For the sake of sepulchral ditto heads?" This is what Bill Grady says. The confiscated documents were subsequently published under the title The Original Writings of the Order of the Illuminati, 1787. The authenticity of these papers has never been denied, not even by the embarrassed Illuminati members themselves. The publishers, moreover, were careful to state at the beginning of the first volume, those who might have any doubts on the authenticity of this collection may present themselves at the secret archives here, where, on request, the original documents will be laid before them. With reference to the sex doctrinal base, Weishaupt's originality can be traced to the French philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and I don't even know how to say French that way. Was fantasized who fantasized that civilization was a terrible mistake and that mankind's only hope lay in a return to nature. I guess that's why they want us to save the trees. See Al Gore's Earth in the Balance. According to Rosenau, the first man who bethought himself of saying, "This is mine," and found people simple enough to believe him was the real founder of its civil society. What crimes, what wars, what murders, what miseries and horrors would he have spared the human race who, snatching away the spades and filling in the ditches, had cried out to his fellows, "Beware of listening to those impostors. You are lost if you forget that the fruits of the earth belong to all, and the earth to no one." Thus, in his exhortation to Hierophants, Spartacus writes, "With the origin of nations and peoples, the world ceased to be a great family, a single kingdom. The great tie of nature was torn. Nationalism took the place of mankind. Now it became a virtue to magnify one's fatherland at the expense of whomever was not enclosed within its limits. Now, as a means to this narrow end, it was permitted to despise and outwit foreigners, or indeed even to insult them. 21st century hate crimes. That is, this virtue was called patriotism. So out of patriotism arose localism, the family spirit, and finally egoism. Diminish patriotism, then men will learn to know each other again as such. Their dependence on each other will be lost. The bond of union will widen out. One's love for home and country must now be discarded. To make of the human race, without any distinction of nation, condition, or profession, one good, happy family, according to Weishaupt. The fall of man was a fall from nature to property ownership. This nonsense continues. Weishaupt's nonsense. Oh, in Florida? Yeah, well, believe me, it's going to get cold here first. It seems like y'all would be pretty warm, pretty mild, wouldn't you? Is it mild in Florida, or is it pretty cold in Florida? Seems like that ocean breeze y'all got, that would keep you pretty warm. I mean, well, I don't know if that did anything, but the tropical, air and everything. Oh, yeah, it does here too. Really get down in the 20s up here in Tennessee. I used to live in South Carolina, and man, the summers were hot. I mean, shoo. I live right there on Lake Marion, not far from Lake Marion, and right there above this Santee River, which goes into Lake Marion, which was Lake Marion, and it get cold. Yeah, I live here in East Tennessee, in Etowah, Tennessee. Right here. What you doing, Bubba? You be a good little boy. My little pug over there, sitting in the chair. See if you can see him. There. What you doing, Herbert? You coming to me? Okay, we'll go ahead and chill out. It's fine. Oak Ridge. Yep. I've heard of Oak Ridge, and I'm not quite sure where it is. But anyway, where's that? One's love for home and country must now be. Oh, I read that part. Men originally led a patriarchal life in which every father of a family was the sole lord of his house and property, while he himself possessed general freedom and equality. But they suffered themselves to be oppressed gave themselves up to civil societies and formed states. Even by this they fell, and this is the fall of man, by which they were thrust into unspeakable misery. To get out of his state, the state, to be freed and born again, there is no other mean than the use of pure reason, by which a general morality may be established, which will put man in a condition to govern himself, regain his original worth, and dispense with all political supports, and particularly with rulers. Then can be done in no other. This can be done no other way, but by secret associations. Yeah, Knoxville. That's like about an hour away from here. Which will be by degrees and in silence possess themselves of the government of the states and make use of those means for this purpose which the wicked use for attaining their base ends. Princes and priests are in particular the wicked, whose hands we must tie up by means of these associations, if we cannot root them out altogether. And that's what Weishaupt said as far as having secret societies. That's why I like the King James Bible, because they took that Apocrypha, because it means the secret books. And there's nothing secret, there's nothing that's hid. The Lord says that in the Bible. And Bill Grady says self-deluded visionaries like Plato, Rossino, or Weishaupt, Marx, Lenin, Stalin, and Chairman Mao could have saved themselves a lot of trouble by simply observing nature, especially a dog with his bone. Webster, it's like I said, it's Lady Webster, who put our book, World Revolution, A Plot Against Civilization. If you want to look at that book, look it up. It's $15 on Amazon. And the inequality they have sought to do away with a attribute to what they describe as man-made laws instead of laws of nature, whereby not only amongst human beings but in the animal kingdom the same inequalities are to be found. While swarms of ants, like the slaves in ancient Egypt, erecting the pyramids, work unceasingly to construct their hills, and bees hurry with a pause from flower to flower to collect honey for their hive industry. Cows and sheep loaf idly through the green meadows, or lie in the shade beneath the trees, and in pools bordered by scented rushes, trout move serenely through clear, cool water, and ducks and swans set out to sail lazily across its surface. Ownership of property is not peculiar to the human race. The bird has its nest, the dog has its bone in it that it will savagely defend. If everything were divided up today, all would be unequal again tomorrow. And that's one of the other things, spread out the wealth. Everybody did all that. Rich people, if you're rich, if you're a millionaire or you're a thousandaire, that your money should be spread out. But like it says here, one man would fritter away his share, another would double it by turning it to good account. The practical and energetic would soon be more prosperous than the idler or the wastrel. The parable of the 10 talents perfectly illustrates the different capacity of men to deal with money. And I think that's the same thing as what like to sow the seeds. And some spread 10, 20, 30, 40, whatever. It depends on the uniqueness of that person. So some people are meant to have a lot of money, and some people aren't meant to have a lot of money. Some people should have certain incomes, and some people shouldn't have other incomes. It just depends on what the Lord does in that person's own life that deems them to be rich, like Donald Trump, or to be not so rich like me. The King James Bible declares, wisdom is too high for a fool. Proverbs 24, verse 7. Therefore, Weishaupt was led by his spiritual father, John 8:24, to declare war on religion, family, and nationalism, stating, man is not bad except as he is made so by arbitrary morality. He is bad because religion, the state, and bad examples pervert him. When at last reason becomes religion of men, then will the problem be solved. That hasn't helped one bit. Reason. In her book, World Revolution, The Plot Against Civilization, Webster states, reduced to a simple formula, the aims of the Illuminati may be summarized in the following 5 points. So here we go. Abolition of monarchy and all ordered government. Abolition of private property and of inheritance. Can you hear it at my mom's house, I guess? Abolition of patriotism. Abolition of the family, i.e., of marriage and all morality, and the institution of the communal education of children. Communal, not communal. Abolition of all religion. Abolition of all religion. Does this sound familiar? The French historian Henri Martin summarized Adam's elaborate system as a humanistic pipe dream. When he has made it into an elaborate theory that the misanthropic Gibbs, whatever this means, of Butatides of Rousseau at the invention of property in society, and without taking into account the statement so distinctly formulated by Rousseau on the impossibility of suppressing property in society once they had been established. He proposed that at the end of the Illuminism, the abolition of property, social authority, of nationality, and return of the human race to the happy state in which it formed only a single family without artificial needs, without useless sciences, every father being priest and magistrate, priests of we know not what religion, for in spite of their frequent invocations of the God of nature, many indications lead us to conclude that Weishaupt had, like Diderot and de Hollevik, no other God than nature herself. From his doctrine would naturally follow the German ultra-Hegelianism, whatever that is, and the system of anarchy recently developed in France, of which the physiognomy suggests a foreign origin. Okay, so here's where it gets good for the ladies. Here's where the feminism comes in. Recruitment and discipleship. In reality, the Illuminati had only one real goal that encompasses all the rest. The cult's founder declared, "Behold our secret." It's if in order to destroy all Christianity, all religion, we have pretended to have the sole true religion. Remember that the end justifies the means, and that the wise ought to take all the means to do good, which the wicked take to do evil. To pursue his devilish agenda, Weishaupt developed an elaborate system of Jesuit-style recruitment and training. Webster, citing Weishaupt, says, in order to give a good appearance to the order, Weishaupt particularly indicates the necessity for enlisting esteemed and respectable persons, but above all, young men whom he regards as the most likely subjects. I cannot use men as they are, he observes, but I must first form them. Youth naturally lends itself best to this process. Seeks the society of young people, Weishaupt, as writes Ajax. Watch them, and if one of them pleases you, lay your hand on them. Seek out young and already skillful people. Our people must be engaging, enterprising, intriguing, and adroit. Above all, the first. Understandably, teachers and especially writers were viewed as the ultimate prospects. Weishaupt states, whatever his name is, If a writer publishes anything that attracts notice and it is in itself just, but does not accord with our plan, we must endeavor to win him over or decry him. In like manner, we must try to obtain an influence in the military academies. This may be of mighty consequence. The printing houses, bookseller shops, chapters, and in short, all offices which have any effect, either in forming or in managing, or even in directing the mind of man, painting and engraving are highly worth our care. The cunning Weishaupt was also interested in tapping the Christian community. Professor Robson, quoting Spartacus, I have contrived an explanation which has every advantage. It is inviting to Christians of every communion, gradually frees them of all religious prejudices, and cultivates society, the social virtues. My means are effectual and irresistible. Our secret association works in a way that nothing can withstand. How about that? In his private correspondence, Weishaupt mocked the foolish clergy who fell for his religious appeals. The most wonderful thing is that great Protestant and Reformed theologians who belong to the Illuminism still believe that the religious teaching imparted in it contains the true and genuine spirit of Christian religion. Oh, men, of what cannot you be persuaded? I never thought that I should become the founder of a new religion. Boy, isn't he conceited. The courting and contamination of women, here it goes, the courting and contamination of women was also essential to Weishaupt's program. See Empress Alexandria and Rasputin. After all, wasn't Eve the first human to be illuminated? 1 Timothy 2:14 states, that's the reference there, there is no way of influencing men so powerfully as by means of the woman or women. These should therefore be our chief study. We should insinuate ourselves into their good opinion, give them hints of emancipation from the tyranny of public opinion, and of standing up for themselves. It will be an immense relief to their enslaved minds to be freed from any one bond of restraint, and it will fire them the more and cause them to work for us with zeal without knowing that they do so, for they will only be indulging their own desire for own desire of personal admiration. Wow, we have a lot of women to do that, unfortunately. Professor Robson concludes nothing is more clear than the design of the Illuminati was to abolish Christianity, and we now see how effectual this would be for the corruption of the fair sex, a purpose which they eagerly wish to gain, that they might corrupt the men. Era. Eve ruined Adam. Spartacus also understood the value of good old conspiracy fodder, and the more the better. We must win the convenient common people in every corner. This will be obtained chiefly by means of the schools and by open, hearty behavior, show, condescension, popularity, and toleration of their prejudices, which we shall at leisure root out and dispel. Now, you can see that with a lot of these movie stars and stuff, singers. They always have, they're Illuminati, like Katy Perry, Ariana Grande, and stuff like that. They're being led to oh, there we go. It popped right up. Illuminati, Katy Perry. I just said it. There it goes. Katy Perry, I want to join the Illuminati. Well, you are a part of Illuminati. You're promoting feminism. You're promoting same sex and the All seeing eye. So you are part of Illuminati. Know where you are. Oh, okay. So what do we have here next? Weishaupt's bait for recruitment was twofold: idealism and material gain. Although with all the rhetoric about helping mankind find its way back to nature, Weishaupt knew what buttons to push. The pupils are convinced that the order will rule the world. Every member therefore becomes a ruler. We all think of ourselves as qualified to rule. It is therefore an alluring thought both to good and bad men. By this lure, the order will spread. In the meantime, initiates of the Illuminati, like their counterparts in Freemasonry, would have decided edge over everyone else. Um, Robinson's work confirms, through its connections and intrigues, the conspiracy was able to place its selected members in positions of influence and power where they could enjoy all the glories of worldly success, provided they used the success to work unceasingly for the advancement of the order. How about that? And let's see here. That's something. Advancement of the order. Okay, so Weishaupt personally ensured the power of the order must surely be turned to the advantage of its members. All must be assisted. They must be preferred to all persons otherwise of equal merit, money, services, honors, goods, and blood must be expended for the fully proved brethren, and the unfortunate must be relieved by the funds of the society. How about that? Well, that's nice of them. Speaking of funds, which world revolution for sale, there would be no shortage of cold-blooded investors. As previously noted, and contrary to the views of various extremists, there have always been plenty of Gentile money changers around. In its 1937 classic, The Wealth of Nations, Adam Smith wrote, "The Bank of England is the greatest bank of circulation in Europe." Other financial powers in Weishaupt's time included the Bank of Rialto, Venice, the Bank of France, the Bank of Amsterdam, the Bank of Hamburg, the Bank of Stockholm. However, in fairness to the historical record, it must also be noted that a block of Jewish bankers wielded an influence substantially and disproportionate to their number. Biographer Frederick Morton concluded that the Rothschild dynasty had conquered the world more thoroughly and more cunningly and more lastingly than all the Caesars before or all the Hitlers after them. With specific reference to the Illuminati underwriting, Jewish author Bernard Lazar confirms there were Jews behind Weishaupt. Edith Miller's short list of Hebrew heavyweights contributing to Illuminati coffers included Daniel Itzig, Friedlander, Kirchbier, Benjamin and Abraham Goldsmith, Moses Mokata, and Vito Hain Ephraim. She also confirms that Moses Mendelssohn, himself the head of Haskalah, or the Jewish Illuminati, really, frequently cooperated with Weishaupt's operations. Now we go to the initiation procedures. Oh wow, everybody's just disappeared. And then it talks about infiltration of Freemasonry, how Illuminati infiltrated it and stuff. I'll just read a little bit of this. Initiation procedures. The Illuminati function under the most clandestine of conditions. The initiates themselves were acquainted with none but their immediate superiors. My circumstances necessitate that I should remain hidden from most of the members as long as I live. Spartacus wrote to Cato, I am obliged to do everything through 5 or 6 persons. Weishaupt stated everywhere, the slightest observation shows that nothing will so much contribute to increase the zeal of the members as secret union. Henry Ardent wrote, real power begins where secrecy begins. The only rule of which everybody in a totalitarian state may be sure. Everyone was made to understand that secrecy within and secrecy without was everything. Weishaupt would repeat over and over, the great strength of our order lies in its concealment. Let it never appear in any place in its own name, but always cover it by another name and another occupation. Buster reminds her readers that of Andre Bering's dictum. Remember that the constant rule of the secret societies is that the author never shows themselves, whereas rookie candidates for the Blue Lodge of Freemasonry were often scared half to death by various blood-curdling oaths. Weishaupt's Illuminati were more laid back at the outset. Adepts for the probationary degree of the order at initial levels were administered the following oaths. Sorry, you get it out there one day. I hereby, by myself, by mine honor and good name, forswearing in all mental reservation, never to reveal by hand, word, writing, or in any manner whatever, even to my most trusted friend, anything that should now be said or done to me respecting my wish for reception, and this whether my reception shall fall or not, I being previously assured that it shall contain nothing contrary to religion, the state, nor good manners. I promise that I shall make no intelligible extract from any papers which shall be shown me now or during my novitiate. All this I swear as I am, and as I hope to continue a man of honor. However, when the prospects started their gradual climb through the other 12 degrees, divided over the 3 stages of nursery, masonry, and mysteries, some of them began to get a little nervous. Those who make it to Illuminatus minor sign the following obligation. I protest before you, the worthy plenipotentiary of the venerable order into which I wish to be admitted, that I acknowledge my natural weakness and ability, and that I, with all my possessions, rank, honors, and titles which I hold in political society, am at bottom only a man. I can enjoy these things only through my fellow men. Through them also I may lose them. The approbation and consideration of my fellow men are indispensably necessary, and I must try to maintain them by all my talents. These I will never use to the prejudice of universal good, but will oppose with all my might the enemies of the human race and of political society. I will embrace every opportunity of saving mankind by improving my understanding and my affections, and by imparting of all important knowledge as the good and statutes of this order require of me. I bind myself to do perpetual silence and unshaken loyalty and submission to the order and the persons of my superiors, here making a faithful and complete surrender of my private judgment, my own will, and every narrow-minded employment of my power and influence. I pledge myself to account the good of the order as my own. I am ready to serve it with my fortune, my honor, and my blood. Should I, through omission, neglect, passion, or wickedness, behave contrary to this good of the order, I subject myself to what reproof or punishment my superiors shall enjoin. The friends and enemies of the order shall be my friends and enemies. and with respect to both, I will conduct myself as directed by the order, and I am ready in every lawful way to devote myself to its increase and promotion, and therein to employ all my ability. All this I promise and protest without secret reservation, according to the intention of the society, which require from me this engagement, this due as I am, and as I hope to continue a man of honor. How about that? And it says, after ascribing to all this hot air about saving mankind, etc., the man of honor, quotations, has a sword pointed at his breast on being asked, will you be obedient to the commands of your superiors? Professor Robinson states he is threatened with unavoidable vengeance, from which no potentate can defend him if he should ever betray the order. Robinson then gives us a glimpse into the initiation procedure for the regent degree. The candidate is presented for reception in the character of a slave and is demanded of him what has brought him into the most miserable of all conditions. He answers society, the state, the submissiveness, false religion. A skeleton is pointed out to him, at the feet of which are laid a crown and a sword. He is asked whether that is the skeleton of a king, a nobleman, or a beggar, and he cannot decide. The president of the meeting says to him, the character of being a man is the only one that is of importance. The significance of this particular imagery will become apparent in chapter 11. It says here, in this book, leave every contain mechanically white barriers of darkness. Encyclopedia's Honey Warnski reproduces an oath that is taken in one of the highest degrees of Illuminism. In the name of the Son crucified, the pentagram, and Illuminist man, not Jesus, swear to break the bonds which still bind you to your father, mother, brothers, sisters, wife, relatives, friends, mistresses, kings, chiefs, benefactors, and all persons to whosoever you may have promised faith, obedience, and service. Name and curse the place where you were born, so that you may dwell in another sphere, to which you will attain only after having renounced this Palestinian globe. Vile refuse of the heavens. From this moment you are free from the so-called oath to country and law. Swear to reveal to the new chief, recognized by you, what you may have seen or done, intercepted, read or heard, learned or surmised, and also seek for and spy out what your eyes cannot discern. Honor and respect the aqua tofana, poison, as a sure, prompt, necessary means of purging the globe by death of those who seek to vilify the truth and seize it from our hands. Fly from Spain, Naples, and all accursed land. Finally, fly from the temptation to reveal that you may hear, for the thunder is no prompter than the knife, which awaits you in whatsoever place you may be. Live in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. This is the Trinity of Illuminism, Kabbalistic and Gnostic. The Father, the generating fire, the Holy Spirit, the great Mother Nature, reproducing all things, the Son, the manifestation, the vital fluid, the astral light of Illuminism. It is a perversion of Christian symbolism. One's movement through the various degrees from the superficial outer doctrines, saving mankind, etc., to the true esoteric inner ones have been likened to an occult lore, to the peeling back of an onion's numerous layers. Thus, whenever candidates for the higher degrees begin to get a little watery-eyed over Weishaupt's teachings on murder, treason, revolution, and Satanism, naturally a number wanted out. Those who showed little potential were allowed to leave with a pledge of silence. However, it was too late for the others, as Weishaupt had earlier extracted incriminating written confessions of sexual indiscretions or previously hidden criminal activity in order to keep them peeling. William Steele conjectures the others may have um, been snared by an ancient ploy known as communal criminality, which required candidates to participate in a common crime, thereby securing their indefinite cooperation. So that kind of blackmailed them, in other words, to stay in. But let's see here. And then there's more about infiltration of Freemasonry. When they infiltrated Freemasonry, Illuminati here. Let's see here. Oh gosh, crazy stuff. It says, ever the master strategist, Weishaupt soon set his eyes on the orders and ultimate on conquest. When the crossover conversion of Joseph Balsamo from Masonry to Illuminism, with the crossover conversion of Joseph Balsamo from Masonry to Illuminism, the Jewish community, whatever that means, became a key double agent whose self-confessed mission was to work so as to turn Freemasonry in the direction of Weishaupt's project. Oh, he said he wasn't he went into in other words, he wasn't a part of the Masons as far as the whatever. He went there as an initiate, I guess, but that was years before, but he was never part of them afterwards. So all this crap about him being a 33rd degree Mason and all that stuff, all these paintings, is a bunch of hooey. It's a bunch of falsehood. And that's all that is. But he himself was never a Mason. You know, to that point where he was not the grand, or what do you call that? The grand, whatever it is. He wasn't one of those, you know. I can find it. Yeah, I think that was it. No problem. Yeah, I believe that was one of his. It was like, okay, I'm not going to be in this. Well, here it is right here. George Washington. He says, I have heard much of the nefarious and dangerous plans and doctrines of the Illuminati. It was not my intention to doubt that the doctrines of the Illuminati and the principles of Jacobinism had not spread into the United States, or on the contrary, no one is more satisfied of this fact than I am. I gave it as my opinion to the confidential characters around me that if these societies, pro-Masonic, pro-Parisian, Jacobians, Democratic Clubs of America, were not counteracted, not by the prosecutions, the ready way to make them grow stronger, or did not fall into disesteem, they would shake the government to its foundations. That's what George said. And I'm sure he said other things. All you got to do is Google it and it tells you about it. What George, first president, said. Yeah. What President Washington said, rather. Well, here's another one. Here's what he wrote to Mr. Schneider, I think it is. That's no problem. Here's the other one. Mr. Schneider was thinking that he was a grand marshal, whatever it was, of a chapter or whatever, or the, oh, what was it? Anyway, this is what he says to that Mr. Steiner. Sir, many apologies are due to you for my not acknowledging the receipt of your obliging favor of the 22nd ultimate, and for not thanking you at an earlier period for the book you had the goodness to send me. I have heard much of the nefarious and dangerous plan and doctrines of the Illuminati, but never saw the book until you were pleased to send it to me. The same causes which have prevented my acknowledging the receipt of your letter have prevented my reading the book hitherto, namely the multiplicity of matters which pressed upon me before, and the debilitated state in which I was left after a severe fever had been removed, and which allows me to add a little more now than thanks to your kind wishes and favorable sentiment, except the great error you have run into on my presiding over the English lodges in this country. Okay, the fact is, I preside over none, nor have I been in one more than once or twice within the last 30 years. And this is 1798. So that's like what, 1768? I believe, notwithstanding that none of the lodges in this country are contaminated with the principles ascribed to the Society of the Illuminati. Okay, so I hadn't got there yet, I guess, or something like that. Don't know why I said that. With respect, I am your obedient humble servant, George Washington. So there you go. If you ever get this book, How Satan Turned America Against God, look on page 290. And there you go. Let's see here. Okay. It says serpents like sparkles will always be looking for a new rock they can crawl under to hide. The up and running network of Freemasonry, especially the Continental version. So there were two versions. There's the British Masons, and then there's Continental Masons. Now the British Masons, they weren't like the Continental Masons. The British were law-abiding citizens. They were not into the things that corrupted, which the Illuminati. I think there was a difference in Freemasons, maybe as like what you were talking about, Vlad, like a gentleman's club or something like that. But Illuminism corrupted Freemasons. So from the time of before this nation, right about the same time we became a country, and that's when Masonism, Freemasons were corrupted. So you have the British Society, British Masons, then you have the Continental Masons. Continental Masons were corrupted by Illuminism, the Illuminati. That's what it says here. Because as we see, reading Adam Weishaupt, he was part of the Jesuits and somehow or another, and was corrupted by somebody, and then he got back to the he went to the Munich Masonry Club and found some renegade Masons, and they became an order within the order, and that became Illuminism, Illuminati, that is. And they're like right here, they infiltrated the rest of the Masons. Right here, it's talking about. Anyway, let me read on here. The up and running network of Freemasonry, especially the Continental version, was viewed as ripe for the picking. Unaware that a secret correspondence would later be uncovered, Weishaupt told the world where he would henceforth conceal his order, writing, "None is fitter than the three lower degrees of Freemasonry. The public is accustomed to it, he expects little from it, and therefore takes little notice of it." After considerable political maneuvering by Balsamo, Mendelssohn Weishaupt and others, the dreading marriage between Freemasonry and the Order of the Illuminati was consummated on July 16th, 1782. So that was like 16 years after. Let's see, 16, 16 years. Well, not. No, 6. I don't know how to count. It was 6 years. It was 6 years after he first founded, I guess, the Illuminati. So that makes sense whenever George Washington wrote that regarding the Illuminati, because it was in 1798. So by that time, Weishaupt's Illuminati had a grasp on Freemasonry. And so that's why you see a lot of these guys in here talk about, whenever they write about Freemasonry and Illuminati, it kind of goes all in one, because Weishaupt had influenced a lot of Freemasons, which were continental, which were called continental and even British. But in the beginning, even the lady wrote that talking about the World Revolution, I think her name is World Revolution, the plot against civilization. Webster talks about continentalism and British Freemasonry. There's a difference. And I'm of the mind that they influenced the rewriting of the King James. They try to go with the Revised Version, and that talks about that in here too. And they were influencing even that. They used Westcott and Hort in that after the Civil War over in England. But anyway, let me read a little bit more of this. Okay, so the Illuminati was consummated on July 16, 1782. The Order of Freemasonry and the Order of Illuminati, 1782. And the historic Congress de Wilhelmsbad in the House of Province, Germany. Webster states, what passed as this terrible Congress will never be known to the outside world, but even those men who had been drawn unwittingly into the movement and now heard for the first time the real designs of the leaders were under oath to reveal nothing. How about that? I just talked about this. See Westcott and Hort's Code of Silence, employed by the Revision Committee, 1871-1885. I'm telling you, they had a lot to do. It's so clear now. It's so understandable. And I know this is supposed to be about feminism, but it's so understandable now. I get it. I really get it now that these men wanted to change everything, and just destroy Christianity, destroy the Constitution, and everything. Of course, the Constitution would come several years later. The Freemason Comte de Verrieux, a shell-shocked member of the lodge in Lyons, could hardly conceal his alarm when questioned about the proceedings. He said, I will not confide them to you. I can only tell you that all of this is very much more serious than you think. The conspiracy which is being woven is so well thought out that it will be, so to speak, impossible for the monarchy and the church to escape from it. It is well known that the Jewish question was addressed with a resolution being passed that henceforth Jews would no longer be excluded from the lodges. At the same time, it was decided to move the headquarters of Illuminized Freemasonry to Frankfurt, Germany, the center of Jewish finance, controlled by such men as Rothschild, Oppenheimer, Wertheimer, Schuster, Speyer, Stern, and others. And a sight foretell the era's relates to how a certain Jew, after being told, "We don't allow any Jews in this village," replied with a twinkle in his eye, "That's why it's still a village." The timing of this historic merger was propitious for Weishaupt, as it would be another 3 years before his courier's Rathspun Road experience would expose the order's revolutionary agenda. In the meantime, the face of Freemasonry would receive a much needed makeover. As any Mason will tell you, the fraternity places a high regard on spirituality. Members in the Blue Lodge look with devotion to the great architect of the universe, or TGAOTU for short. Their first constitution, drawn by Dr. Anderson in 1723, stated, "A Mason is 1723 is obliged by his tenure to obey the moral law, and if he rightly understands art, he will never be a stupid atheist or irreligious libertine." By the time Spartacus and company got through with him, however, Masons in the highest degrees were making the shocking discovery that the great architect of the universe was someone other than they thought. How about that? And a guy who worked under me, and he pretty much gave me the same malarkey as this. Everything's God, in other words. Albert Pike was the highest ranking American Mason in his day. His book, Morals and Dogma, was published in 1871 by the Supreme Council of the 33rd degree for the Southern jurisdiction of the United States. Al wrote, "Lucifer, the light bearer, strange and mysterious name to give to the spirit of darkness. Lucifer, the son of the morning, it is he who bears the light, and with its splendors intolerable blinds feeble, sensual or selfish souls." This question. Doubt it not, for traditions are full of divine revelations and inspirations. And inspiration is not of the one age nor one creed. Oh boy, this is some malarkey. Okay. The correlation between Lucifer and light is to be understood within the context of the Masonic initiation ceremony. When a candidate for a first degree is asked what he most desires, he promptly answers light. As he later climbs to the second degree and beyond, the prescribed answer to the standard question is always more light. As noted in the previous chapter, Pike was less ambiguous in his letter to the 23 Supreme Councils, concurring, "Yes, Lucifer is God." Another 33-degree Mason, Manly Hall, wrote in his book, "The Last Keys of Freemasonry," when the Masons learns that the key to the warrior on the block is the proper application of the dynamo of living power, he has learned the mystery of his craft. The seething energies of Lucifer are in his hands, and therefore he may step onward and upward. He must prove his ability to properly apply this energy. The degree to which Freemasonry has been permeated by Weishaupt's communist dogma can be seen in the ritual of the 33rd degree and last degree of Antioch and accepted Scottish rites. Paul Rawson, a Jewish Mason, gives the following account. For the Sovereign Grand Inspector General, the 33rd is the last degree of the rite. The order is the great avenger of the assassinated Grand Master and the Grand Champion of humanity. The innocent Grand Master is the man who is his master, king of nature, man who is born innocent and unconscious. Our innocent Grand Master was born for happiness and for the enjoyment of all rights without exception, but he has fallen under the blows of 3 assassins. 3 scoundrels have thwarted his happiness and rights and have annihilated him. The 3 infamous assassins are law, poverty, and religion. It doesn't say light bearer. Lucifer is only used once in the Bible. And I don't think Lucifer is Satan. It could be, but I think Lucifer is referred to the king of Babylon, because it talks about both Satan and the king of Babylon. Because the king of Babylon was trying to glorify his throne, and it made a reference to him as it would, with Satan. But that's my opinion. That's just me. Yeah, exactly. There is one and the same. As Lucifer, or whether it's referring to a man, a king, it's still, he was influenced by Satan. That's the problem. That's the point. In the Bible, he was in I think it's Isaiah 42 or something. He was influenced by his worldliness, was influenced by the devil, by Satan, and so he was called Lucifer. I don't think that's referring to the devil, because it only uses it one time. It would have called, if that were the case, then he would call Lucifer quite more often, but it refers to him as Satan, the devil, and so forth. Curving cherubim. Yeah, I think so too. They're talking about Satan, or a diluted, diminished king, or man, pretty much, who is influenced by Satan. And there are many, I think. Anyway, law, poverty, and religion. Law, because it is not harmony with the rights of the individual man and the duties of social men in society. Rights which belong to all. Duties are but the immediate consequence of the right inherent in all. For the enjoyment of all rights. Property, I'm sorry, did I say poverty? I meant property. Property, because the earth belongs to nobody and its fruits belong to all in proportion. And as they are required by, oh hush. Aren't you so smart home? And proportionate are as they are required by each for the needs of his own well-being. Religion, because religions are but philosophies evolved by men of genius and adopted by the people in the belief that they would increase their well-being. Yeah, that's men for you. Neither law, property, nor religion can be imposed on man, as they annihilate him by depriving him of his most precious rights, as they are assassins on whom we have sworn to wreak vengeance, enemy against whom we have declared war to the death and without quarter. Of these three infamous enemies, it is on religion that we must concentrate our most deadly attack, because no people has ever survived its religion. Once religion is dead, law and property will fall into our mercy, and we shall be able to regenerate society by founding on the corpses of the assassins of man. Messianic religion, Messianic law, and Messianic property. Ooh. People are crazy. People have lost their mind. Wow. What is this mess? Okay. Whew. It's 5:06 already. So we're going to wrap this up. Of course, should you try to enlighten the typical Blue Lodge Mason in a rural America, that's his benevolent fraternity is founded on Satanism, like Vlad you're talking about. If you try to persuade people that is founded on Satanism, he would stare at you like a calf looking in a new gate. The truth is, the good old boy on the redneck level sold out to the same dough of Pike and Hall's crowd by capitulating to the economic pressure of area masons. His business would never fly without their local endorsement. This is known in organizations like the Mafia and the Rainbow Coalition as a shakedown. As discussed in the previous chapter, the underlying benefit of Freemasonry is perceived to be something between insurance and welfare. The God of Philippians 4:19 is nowhere to be found. The scary part in all of this is that a line can be crossed where a money-hungry human can unintentionally sell his soul to the devil. Luke 4:6. Although the secret things belong unto the Lord our God, Deuteronomy 29:29, Satan is more than willing to share a few nuggets with any dupes foolish enough to pay his price. Candidates for the entered apprentice degree are told up front. Masonry possesses great and invaluable privileges to worthy men alone. Voluntary pledges of fidelity are required of each of its initiates. Oswald Worth, a 33-degree initiate of the Grand Lodge in France, and the author of several volumes of Masonry, comments on the high price of initiation. It is a serious matter to ask for initiation, for one has to sign a pact. At the basis of any real initiation, there are certain duties contracted. Beware then of knocking at the gate of the temple if you are not resolved to become a new man. It would be nothing more than a snare and a delusion if you could ask to be initiated free of all obligation, without paying with your very soul for your entry into brotherly communion with the builders of this great humanitarian edifice, whose design has been traced by the great architect of the universe. Wow. And to think that I almost went into a Mason club. Wow. If I only knew this, what I was trying to do then, yeah, I wouldn't have done that. Professor Robson provides an excellent illustration of the mindless commitment required in Weishaupt's Illuminized Freemasonry. He cites one, like Lactocane, a Masonic author in Grand Orient Lodge, as follows: a candidate for reception into one of the highest orders, after having heard many threatenings denounced against all who should betray the secrets of the order, was conducted to a place where he saw the dead bodies of several who were said to have suffered for the treachery. He then saw his own brother tied hand and foot, begging his mercy and intercession. He was informed that this person was about to suffer the punishment due to his offense, and that it was reserved for him, the candidate, to be the instrument of this just vengeance, and that this gave him an opportunity of manifesting that he was completely devoted to the order. It being observed that his countenance gave signs of inward honor, the person in bonds imploring his mercy all the while, he was told that in order to spare his feelings, a bandage should be put over his eyes. A dagger was then put into his right hand, and being hoodwinked, his left hand was laid on the palpitating heart of the criminal, and he was then ordered to strike. He instantly obeyed, and when the bandage was taken from his eyes, he saw that it was a lamb that he stabbed. Surely such trials and such wanton cruelty are only fit for training conspirators. Yeah, I do too. It's possible that I mean, you see Masons everywhere, and there's a secret little handshake to do and stuff like that. And you see some on the cars, there's a little compass and a G in the middle of it. And there's some of them like there's a church. I asked about everything right behind the church, And they act like it's no big deal. They're Masons. They go there and they have fun. They drink beer, whatever. They do whatever. And they don't do the things that's described here. They just common Masons. It's no big deal. But other ones, they with the this is like what I'm talking about. They have like a 2-story lodge, just a building. That's it. And they don't do what we think they do. They just go there to have fun, like a gentleman's club. But some of them are really extravagant, and they have all this stuff, I suppose. And I've always been so curious about Masons. I always have, for whatever reason, been really curious. I mean, some of them are really nice people. I mean, they're very nice people. Some of them are, they come up to you and they're pleasant and kind or whatever. But some of them are buttholes. They must be the ones that go and drink a lot. I don't know. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I want to read real quick here a little bit more Weishaupt, and I'm going to be done with it because I really need to go to bed. I was trying to go to bed earlier, but I couldn't, so I made this video. Still in the making. Let's see here. It says Weishaupt's MO. To gain an understanding of the times for such a time as this, the reader would do well to acquaint himself with Weishaupt's 5 major stratagems. The first of these has been to control of public opinion. The control of public opinion. To be politically correct, that is. Weishaupt wrote, "We must bring our opinions into fashion by every art, spread them among the people by the help of young writers." Don't we have enough of that? "We must preach the warmest concern for humanity and make people indifferent to all other relations, i.e., relations to God, family, and country." Shut up, Paul. Secret societies, Webster is talking about this, the author of World Revolution. Secret societies are of importance because they are, moreover, sympathetic, symptomatic, and also because although the work actually carried out in their lodges or councils may be of a trivial character, they are able, by the power of association and the collective force they generate to influence public opinion and to float ideas in the outside world which may have far-reaching consequences. Of course, ideas will always float faster through the polluted channels of a manipulated media. Yeah, we have that, don't we? Manipulated media. With the open as with the secret forces, the great method of warfare is the capture of public opinion. A hidden influence behind the press contributes powerfully to this end. Today, the newspapers no longer the echoes of public opinion, but its supreme directors throw open their columns to every form of disintegrating doctrine and close them to arguments that could effectually arrest the forces of destruction. What is the hidden influence behind the press, behind all the submersive movements going on around us? Are there several powers at work, or is there one power, one invisible group directing all the rest? The circle of the real initiates. The Comte de Ponciens then highlights the obvious. Freemasonry is practically never mentioned in the press. Of course it's not. History books are silent about the power and influence of the order, and governments and parliaments never dare debate such a dangerous subject. Reports of Masonic meetings in Congresses are not available to the public. Masonic magazines and publications are not placed in the Bibliothèque Nationale or the British Museum, although the law of the land demands it. Wonder why that is. With the media under his control, Weishaupt proceeded to transmit his infectious agenda into the moral fiber of society. An old Kabbalistic proverb says, "The best revolutionary is a young devoid of morals." Professor Robson said of the Illuminati, "They endeavored to destroy our religious sentiments by first destroying our morals. They tried to inflame our passions, that when the demands from this quarter become urgent, the restraints of religion may immediately come in sight and stand in the way." This is the last one I'm going to read, I think. More to read, but Webster, but author lady, she said this in her time. "We have only to look around us in the world today, 1924, to see everywhere the same disintegrating power at work in art, literature, and the drama, the daily press, and every spirit that can influence the mind of the public, and in the realms of literature, not merely in works of fiction, but in manuals for schools, or school books, in histories and books professing to be serious educative values." Yep, the Bonnings. And what he says, Bill Grady. "And receiving a skillfully organized boom throughout the press, everything is done to weaken patriotism, to shake belief in all existence institutions by the systematic perversion of both contemporary and historical facts." Very true. Whilst novels and plays calculated to undermine all ideas of morality are pressed upon the public as works of genius which, in order to maintain their reputation for intellect, it is essential to admire, I do not believe that all this is accidental. I do not believe that the public asks for the anti-patriotic or demoralizing books and plays placed before it. On the contrary, it invariably responds to an appeal to patriotism and simple, healthy emotions. The heart of the people is still sound, but ceaseless efforts are made to corrupt it. Not that. That's right, this phone has a mind of its own. Okay. It says the word of God condemns this garbage, stating, "Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, and put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter." Isaiah 5:20. A third method of Illuminati subterfuge has been the systematic attempt to create grievances in order to exploit them. Such tactics were successfully employed throughout the French Revolution. This contrivance of engineering agitation is constantly at work in what is left on the United States. After thousands of females and sodomites are moved into military barracks, the press recoils in horror at reports of sexual harassment, gay bashing, and declining morale. A crime culture created by evolution in the schools, violence in the entertainment industry, and liberalism in the courts requires law-abiding citizens to surrender their Second Amendment rights. And don't we have that going on today? The fourth step in Weiss's plan for world revolution has been to integrate the races. The French Mason J.M. Reglan wrote, "It is to Masonry that we owe the affiliation of all classes of society. It alone could bring about the diffusion which from its midst has passed into the life of the peoples. It alone could promulgate the humanitarian law of which the rise in society activity tending to a great social uniformity leads to fusion of races of different classes of morals, codes, customs, languages, fashions, money, and measures. Its virtuous propaganda will become the humanitarian law of all consciousness. Okay, so I believe that's what I'm going to do right now. That's an hour and 45 minutes. And I don't think I can get that far. There we go. But anyway, I might read that later. But I'm going to go to bed. Well, hope whoever is listening to it is enjoying it. And thank you for being with me for an hour and 45 minutes. And I can sleep. I need to do a couple things before I go to bed, though. Well, again, I thank y'all for at least 2 people being on here, and I hope you enjoyed it and everything. But I'm going to go, and God bless you, and keep this United States in your prayers. I mean, that's all we can do, and be part of the solution, not part of the problem. And we can tell by what goes on in the law. We can tell by what goes on in other things that the Lord is in control of everything. He's the one that guides all our affairs ultimately. I'm not a pastor. That's nice of you to say, but I'm not a pastor. But anyway, we have all these laws and things. We have all these, do right and do good, stuff like that. So the Lord's in control of all things. And even though there are men out there who try to control other men, God's ultimately in control of all things. So this nation is not totally overran yet, at least, by the Illuminati and the form of Freemasonry and whatever else. And we see that a lot that's happening with like with feminism, with homosexual movements. They're always promoting this stuff so they can control us, and with the music industry and things like that. Oh, that's no problem. I appreciate you subscribing. Thanks a lot. Well, I'm gonna get off here, lad. And like I said, I got a couple things to do before I go to bed. Oh, pardon me. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Thanks for viewing. And y'all have a great night. A great morning, rather. And take care and God bless. It's about Jesus. It's about what he's done for us. It's about what he's done for us on the cross. That's what's important. It's not about these secret societies that try to usurp God's law and take something that God has blessed us with, obviously blessed us with. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. And I'm going. Y'all take care. We'll see you. God bless.